All right, so next up, let's take a look at Clemson and Baylor, both having really dominating wins today. Clemson getting a win over New Mexico. I didn't think they would win that game, I'll be honest with you. Clemson started the season strong, like first 10 games in particular. They're a top 25 team, no doubt, but kind of the way they lost in the ACC to some random teams that didn't make the tournament kind of made me question how good they really are, but they dominated New Mexico today. Now, that may be in part to the Mountain West is a little weaker than we thought, but still really impressive performance. Then Baylor coming at 24-10, the 3 seed, coming out of the gauntlet that is the Big 12. Really dominant performance today over Colgate. I think this is going to be a really good matchup here. I think both teams can play, and this is going to be a good one. Let's talk about Clemson first. All right, first off, let's look at those first 10 games. So wins over UAB, Boise State, Alabama, South Carolina, and TCU, all tournament teams, all really good wins there. Then a close loss to Memphis. Then as far as in-conference play against tournament teams, you've got a loss to North Carolina, a loss versus Duke, a loss versus Virginia, and then a win over North Carolina. Then some of those questionable losses sprinkled in, like I said, in particular Notre Dame, Boston College. Then looking at Baylor, all right, tough schedule, but wins over Auburn. Auburn did lose today, but still it's a really good win. Win over Florida, losses to Michigan State and Duke, and then in the Big 12 play, all right, wins over Iowa State, win over BYU, lost to Texas, lost to Kansas, lost to Houston in overtime. You beat Kansas and Texas later on, though, so you split with both of those teams, and then you beat Iowa State. So wins over Iowa State and Kansas in particular, pretty impressive. All right, Clemson led in points by Hall, and then Baylor led in points by Walter. Looks like the spread currently has Baylor favored by 4.5. I think this game's going to be a little closer than that. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Potentially a last possession game. From what I saw today, I think Clemson can play with Baylor. I didn't know if they would be, like I said, going in. I kind of had New Mexico beating Clemson, but Clemson really impressed me today. Baylor was hard to tell too much. They looked good, but also it was against a little lesser competition, but they did some good things in Big 12 play in particular. I think Clemson, though, gets the win here. They're a little more versatile than Baylor. Baylor really guard-led, but I think Clemson's going to give them some trouble, in particular Hall, down in the paint. So give me Clemson here by probably less than 3, less than 4. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think Clemson ultimately is going to get the win here. So down in the comment section, let me know who you think wins this game and why. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.